Welcome back everyone. In today's video I'm going to talk about dust collection and why it sometimes doesn't work for you, and what are some of the best tools and the worst tools for dust collection. Once you start tweaking your tools and making modifications, your dust collection gets impacted one way or another, so it's important to know what to blame on the tool itself and what to blame on your modification of the tool. Now when it comes to dust collection, there are so many different ways to do it. If you have a large enough space to install a permanent dust collection system with duct work going to all of your tools, that of course is the most ideal solution. Now if I were to go back 10 years and do everything over again, a dust collection system would be on the top of my list. At least get yourself a decent cyclone system to hook up to your shop vac. That is what I've done recently, and I wish I had done this years and years ago. When you're budgeting for tools, that is something you should really factor in as a starting point and not as an afterthought. So don't do what I did. Don't wait 10 years to get a decent dust collection system. Make sure you have a dust collection system in your shop and then build your tools around that. Make sure you have enough hoses and adapters to adapt to different tools. There'll be different size dust collection ports depending on what tool that you use it on. So make sure you're able to hook up your dust collection system to as many tools as possible to help keep most of the dust out of the air and have it sucked into your cyclone. Another measure that I use, and one that I've been getting better and better at, is using my RZ mask. This is something I've had for about 1.5 years now, and I can't recommend them enough. It comes with a great filter system. These masks work tremendously, especially if you're in an operation using tools that don't have dust extraction at all, such as a lot of the routers that are out there. Of course, unless you go with Festool. It mitigates any fine dust that's collected in the air. I highly recommend getting one of these if you can still get them. They're probably pretty popular right now, given the current situation, but of course, they also double as a good shopping mask. Now, assuming that you have a dust collection system, we're going to talk about some of the tools that work best for dust collection and some of the tools that don't do as well for dust collection. Now, my bandsaw has a dust collection port right here at the back. What happens is if I open up the hatch, at the bottom here, this is where most of the dust will accumulate. So as you can see, it turns clockwise. The dust gets pulled down into the bottom here, and if you've got the vacuum set up, it will get sucked up through this little port. So you'll see I have a zero clearance tabletop on there right now. I'm going to remove that temporarily. And you'll see because of the tabletop, some of the dust did not make it down into the port. If I didn't use my zero clearance solution, I would have this much space where dust would probably get sucked down into the bottom chamber. I get a smoother operation and a cleaner cut by using the zero clearance tabletop. However, the sacrifice I make is 50% of the dust, at least, does not make it down into the chamber. Now, on the other side of this, you'll see my belt sander and disc sander combo. Not too long ago, I did a repair video on this sander because the belt had snapped on the inside. Being Ryobi, again, it's a fairly cost-effective power tool. On one end of this sander, Ryobi provides a fairly large dust collection port, and that works for, again, probably about 50 to 60% of the dust that gets collected. When it comes to dust, sanders are the biggest culprits because they output quite a bit of fine dust in the air and on surfaces. And the worst part of it is the dust that gets left behind is pretty much invisible until it settles. I don't want to really call out Ryobi for doing a bad job on dust collection. This sander is manufactured in exactly the same way by a number of different brands. Depending on how you use the sander, dust collection can be good or bad. If you're using it flat like I have it now, This little plastic guard is what's blocking some of the dust, and if a vacuum is hooked up to it, the suction should bring some of that dust down into the dust chamber. However, a good portion of it, because of the speed of the sander, is flying over top of it, and you are getting probably 40 to 50% of that dust flying out in the air or landing on the floor. So because this is on a mobile station, I usually use this sander outside or at the foot of my shop where I can open the garage door, because I don't want a lot of residual dust settling inside the shop. Next tool we'll look at is the Makita miter saw. The dust collection port is at the back here, as is typical with most miter saws. I will use an adapter with my regular shop vac hose that hooks up to my cyclone system, so that's how it will fit in. Because of the action of this miter saw being that it's cutting downward and sliding at the same time, the dust will travel in two different directions. Most of it needs to be sucked up through the bottom here. The dust usually gets collected up through this chamber here. Now you would think, being Makita and it being fairly expensive as miter saws go, this does a pretty good job of dust collection. Now, in all fairness to Makita, I implemented a new base plate for this. Although it can't be really called zero clearance per se, it is improving the quality of the cut. I made this base plate out of some 1/8 inch plywood and some plexiglass, and I did a video on that. I'll link to it in the description below. Now, I used to have a zero clearance back plate on this saw. Obviously it's not really zero clearance anymore. The port that I showed you earlier, half of it gets blocked. So some of the dust deflects and ends up landing kind of everywhere. When I use the miter saw, you'll notice this box at the back. That is a dust trap. What happens is, regardless of whether I've got dust collection hooked up or not, about 30% of that dust gets tossed back here into the dust collection area. At some point, I might add a secondary port in the back here on the table itself to collect some of that residual dust. Either way, in terms of dust, this is one of the messiest tools I have. I still have dust landing on the side. I usually get dust collecting at the back on the surfaces of the miter saw itself. It's a far cry from a Festool Capex saw. And you can even see right here, I still have dust collecting on top of the saw. The next miter saw that I purchase, I will definitely be looking for better dust collection overall, because this sliding compound miter saw does not do the best job. One of the other tools that I want to go over that's sitting at the bottom of my 3-in-1 station is my old blue Ryobi thickness planer. This has a fairly decent dust collection port right here. This comes with a pretty decent dust shield right on the front here, this plastic dust shield. It definitely sucks up most of the shavings when I have it hooked up to dust collection, but it doesn't always get a lot of the fine dust. So again, this is one of those tools that I use at the foot of my garage, although for an old thickness planer and being a Ryobi thickness planer, it actually works surprisingly well. In any normal operation with this, after about 10 minutes, the bucket that I'm using is probably almost filled up to the top. Now, obviously, one of the messiest tools in my shop is my table saw. It definitely generates a huge amount of dust when I'm working with it, although I've downgraded to a 7 1/4 inch blade, which reduces some of the dust that's generated because the kerf is smaller. There are compromises I've made on this machine. Most notably would be the implementation of my zero clearance throat plate. The original throat plate gives us an approximately 1/2 inch opening here, so that the amount of dust that's going into the chamber below and then subsequently into the dust collection port. Now when I switch that out, for my zero clearance throat plate, I get a higher quality cut because it's zero clearance, but the downside is more dust gets left on the surface of the table saw. So now I've had this saw for almost a decade now, and I can say that it never really was that great at dust collection to begin with. This is probably my only Ridgid tool that I own. I'm not reviewing table saws today, so I'm not going to talk too much about some of the quirks with this table saw, but suffice it to say, the dust collection is not all that fantastic with or without the change in throat plate. The port at the bottom here obviously fits a Ridgid vacuum hose very well. It's a tight fit. So using the table saw, half the time I will usually use an RZ mask, especially if I'm making multiple cuts. The next thing I want to cover off are hand sanders, and I've got a few different hand sanders in the shop with dust collection ports. Again, there's different methods that I've tried. My two favorite sanders that I own are the Makita sanders. I've got this 1/4 sheet flat sander that has a dust collection port at the back. This I probably use about 50% of the time. The other sander that I use that I bought as part of the same kit is this Orbital sander by Makita. And again, it has a dust collection port right here in the back. You'll notice that I have electrical tape wrapped around both dust ports. And there's a reason for that. When I bought my CT36 Festool dust extractor, I found that the hose fit perfectly onto the dust collection port for these sanders if I just wrapped a little bit of electrical tape around it. And so that just made the investment of a CT36 dust extractor a lot easier to digest, because now I could use it with tools that were not Festool that I already owned. So just like with any Festool tool, if I plug this in to the machine itself, and I turn on the sander, you hear the vacuum go on. It'll automatically kick the vacuum in. I know you can get special switches to rig your own automatic vacuum system, but this is a nice little feature. It doesn't have 100% capability of a Festool tool when it comes to dust extraction, but I would say the CT dust extractor extracts probably about 90% of the fine dust that comes off the sander. Of course, you got to make sure that you line up the holes when you're using an Orbital sander. Make sure you get the right type of sandpaper, or make sure you modify your sanding disc with enough holes to allow for adequate dust extraction. The other tool I want to bring up is my electric hand planer, which I've built a jig for, and you guys have probably already seen the video, but I'll link to it in the description below as well. Made by Bosch, and I have it upside down in this jig so I can use it sort of as a jointer, and it works really well. I've used it on many projects, and it does come with a pretty nice little dust collection port at the back here. And when I have dust collection hooked up to it, probably about 95% of the wood shavings get sucked up by that dust collection once I have it hooked up to that port. The other tool I want to talk about that I use from time to time is my K4 pocket jig. And one of the things I've added to it is the additional dust collection port that you can buy separately. And again, I hooked my dust extraction hose up to that. By the time I'm finished, I don't see a single chip on my tabletop. Kreg actually did a really great job of implementing a dust collection solution for their K4 jig. So I'm pretty happy with the way that works. It collects about 95% of the chips and the dust that get generated by using the drill in the K4 jig. Now, it'll come as no surprise to most of you that the best tool I have for dust extraction and chip collection is probably the Domino joiner that I own. And when this works in conjunction with the CT36 dust extractor by Festool, I can tell you without any bias or without getting paid by anybody to say this, there is not a single piece of dust or chip left over from the job. It collects 100% of the shavings and the chips. It's truly a dust-free environment when you use one of the Festool tools. And this is the only Festool tool that I actually own. And I can tell you, based on just this alone, if all the other tools collect dust as well as this does, when I can afford it, if I ever can afford it, I would upgrade everything to Festool. I got this for a lot of the loose end joinery that I do. It just speeds things up. Even the biscuit joiner that I own does not do a very good job of dust collection. The DF500 Domino joiner, which is what this is, does a tremendous job in conjunction with the CT36 dust extractor, and probably any dust extractor by Festool will work great with this. I know some people that own the Capex miter saw and they have the same experience. There's no dust left behind. So I can't say enough about Festool. If you can afford it, get it. I love woodworking, but I hate sanding, and I have my eye on a Festool sander. That is my next Festool purchase for sure. Well, that concludes examining dust collection and the best tools and the worst tools that do the job, and me sharing what I've done in my own shop to improve dust collection and some of the compromises that I may have made by modifying some of my tools. If you want to support this channel, head on over to my donation page right over here. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There are a couple more videos on this side you can watch. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a great day.